Okay, so today I kind of want to talk about the universe and how it can test you during your growth. Okay, so as everyone already knows, I'm on my spiritual journey, my self-love, self-acceptance, whatever you want to call it. I'm on my little journey or whatever. And this journey's not easy. You know, we grow and then we might take a couple steps back and then we grow again. And that's fine. But one thing that will occur while you're on this journey is the universe will test the hell out of you, sweetheart. They will test you. So basically, I want to talk about how the universe tests you and kind of what I do when I do fall for the test and how to hop back on my path, and this is something that I am learning. Like, I'm learning how to hop back on my path whenever I do jump off or fall for a temptation or fall for, a test or something. So, okay. Tests can come in many forms, guys. Tests can come in many forms. It could be a sexual test. It could be a financial test. It could be a substance test. It could literally be anything. And so basically a test is something or someone that puts you at a crossroads between who you were and who you are trying to become. This can be tough because most of the time tests come in the form of people. And I think that a lot of people some people just might not think this, but I personally believe that the universe puts people in your life for a reason. And a lot of the times, people that get brought into your life while you're on this journey, they can be a test. Not everyone, don't get but they can. And so it can be tough because these tests can literally be people that you love. They can literally be people that you have loved, like an ex. It can be a friend, or it can also be a toxic family member. Someone that is trying to get you to go back to who you used to be. It's a test. Okay? So pretty much, yeah, anything that brings up the person you used to be or habits you're trying to break or change. That's how the universe will test you to see if you're ready to progress. So I want to say an example because I really hope that this is making sense. I want to say an example. So one example in my case, I would say, is I suffer with, well, not suffer. That's a terrible word to say. I kind of struggle when it comes to love. I really do. A little quick astrology tip, okay? My Venus is in the 12th house. The 12th house is the house of Pisces. It's ruled by Pisces. Very spiritual house. Very, very spiritual house. It's the house of secrets, the house of karmic debt. Let me tell you. And Venus is all about love. My Venus happens to be in the 12th house, okay? That's something that I really struggle with because when it comes to love, the way that I love is very different. It's very spiritual. It's very out of body. It's something that not everybody can reciprocate to me, okay? And so I go through a lot of karmic partners. And I also, one of the lessons that I did learn, because I've been doing a lot of research on this placement, I need to learn that I'm looking for love and I'm not looking for just fun and games with sex. And I'm being completely transparent because that's the only way to be, okay? I'm not just looking for fun and games. I'm looking for a relationship. But sometimes I can get clouded rose gold glasses on, and whenever I meet somebody and they seem like they're legit, I get all excited and I'm like, oh my gosh, I met somebody, they could have potential. Turns out they can be a test, okay? So the universe knows that this is a problem that I have. This is something that I need to overcome so that I can finally get what I want, which is a relationship, which is, to be in love. So the universe will put on a test for me. Put on a test, whatever you want to say. They will put someone in my life that looks like something that I'm looking for, that looks like something that I want. They can make him look tall, dark, and handsome. They can make him be as spiritual as can be. They can make him be, I don't know, everything that I think I'm looking for. But as I spend more time with this person, I will quickly find out that they're not what I'm looking for because they're a test. The universe will show me this, and it's my choice to see it and to be like, nope, I'm not doing this again. But hey, there comes a time where sometimes you give in. There comes a time where you give in sometimes, and you fall for the test, and then you end up getting hurt, and then it's just a big old hoopla. And I really want to talk about this because I feel like a lot of people, when they fall for tests or they fall for, temptations, they feel like their journey is over. They feel like, I done messed up and now I can't go back. But honestly, that's not the case. The universe put that person in your life so that you could see that this ain't what you want, because it's painful. I feel like I look at tests like this. I look at it like, okay, they put them in my life. I didn't fell for it. This can either be my last straw and I can finally move on and see that this is not what I want anymore, or I can sulk on it, I can dwell in it, and I can let it take over my life and make myself believe my journey's over just because I made one mistake. That's just kind of one thing that I feel like a lot of people struggle with, especially when it comes to, even regardless of relationships, even if a test comes into your life that takes you, back to a place where you just don't want to go. Another example could probably be, say if you really struggle with confrontation and the universe will most likely put people in your life that might, stir up a little confrontation, okay? You know what I mean? You can't run. And the thing is this all comes back to, you can't run from this stuff. If you really pay attention to how the universe works and how the world works, you will learn you can't run from it. It's gonna keep coming. It's gonna come back in different forms, in different bodies, in all types of different types. I can't even I'll go off, but seriously, it will keep coming back. So if you're afraid of confrontation, you're gonna keep on being put in situations where you're gonna have to deal with confrontation. If you choose to not deal with the confrontation, that's on you. You're gonna just keep on dealing with situations where you need to deal with confrontation. And I'm speaking from experience. Girl or guy, whoever you watching this, confrontation is something that it used to take my breath away. I used to not like it. It used to be so hard. So you want to know what the universe did? It kept bringing me situations where I had to deal with confrontation. It kept putting me in situations where, Michaela, you need to speak up. If I chose not to, then it was okay. A month later, Michaela, you need to speak up. And if I don't, hey, it's going to keep happening to me. And it's the same thing with my situation in love. And when you do fall for these tests and, you go back into those bad habits, you go back into the patterns you used to be, go through or whatever, understand it's okay. But also understand that if you keep choosing not to change, you're gonna keep on running into the same things. And I'm speaking to myself as I'm speaking to you. Literally, I'm literally speaking to myself as I'm speaking to this phone. If I keep on, falling for these tests and not progressing, and not seeing it for what it is, and not realizing like this actually is a test. Like, Michaela, you need to realize that this is going to keep on happening. This is going to keep on happening. You're going to keep running into the same thing if you just don't do it. You know what I mean? But I also want people to understand that, like, if you do fall for these tests, it's okay. Like, that's one thing I'm kind of dealing with right now. Like, if you fall off your track and you fall for a little bit of mess, okay? You fall for some mess, you know, you get involved in something you're not supposed to be getting involved with, you know, it takes you off your track. You know what? That's okay. Because everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. He's not perfect. She's not perfect. You're not perfect. We not perfect. Okay? We're all gonna fall for those tests. But like, as I'm being like soft with it, I also want everyone to know that if you keep falling for the tests and if you choose not to change your ways, it's gonna keep happening. It's gonna keep happening. And you're gonna be left dazed and confused. You're gonna be left sad, like, and unbalanced, you know? So I wrote down some things. So let's say you do fall for the temptation. Let's say you do fall for the test, okay? The example would be, let's say Michaela, you know, she ends up making a mistake and doing something that she was trying not to do with a guy because she knows that's not what she wants. I have to understand that just because I made a mistake doesn't mean that my journey is over. It doesn't mean that, you know, the universe is going to punish me or like whatever you want to say. Like, just because that happened, it doesn't mean that like I'm done for, basically. Like, people have to understand that everybody makes mistakes, and that's something that kind of bothers me about the spiritual community, especially on social media. They be trifling. I don't, some things that they be saying, I'm just like, oh. But they think that everything's about love and light, and that, like, you know, you need to stay on your path. Like, you need to, you know, not fall for, like, obviously we know this, but also you have to remember that you are literally the human species. We are here to experience life. We are here to make mistakes. We are here to make mistakes so that we can learn from them. If we didn't make mistakes, then why would we be here? Like, you know what I mean? If we were perfect, why would we be here? Like, you know, because I personally believe that as the human species, we chose to come here so that we could learn lessons. Like, we didn't come here because we were perfect. Nobody's perfect, like I said. Like, I definitely think that, like, a lot of people struggle, and me, myself, I struggle with this too, realizing that making mistakes and falling for tests and temptations that the universe gives you, a lot of us think that it's the end of the world, and it ends up, like, you know, flipping our whole world over, like, literally. And I'm saying this because, like, this is a recent, these are recent feelings that I have had. Like, trust me, like, it can, when you make personally me, when I make a mistake, sometimes I can bounce back, but sometimes it takes me somewhere in my mind that I don't want to go. Like, and that's on having Mercury in the 12th house. Mercury is all about the mind, and my Mercury's right there with my Venus in the 12th house of spirituality. So it's literally, it has a lot to do with your mind. When you make mistakes and you fall for tests, so it's okay to feel, you know, bad about it, and it's okay to get down on yourself, but if you keep your mindset like that and you keep like being like, you know what, like, oh my gosh, like this is terrible, like, you know, I just made the worst mistake, this is the end of my journey, like I just made so much progress and now it's gone. No, that's not true. It's not true. Just because you make a mistake, it doesn't mean that your progress is gone. But it's up to you to realize, okay, I've had my time to cry about it, because trust me, I've shed many a tear this past week. You have to realize, like, I've had my time to cry about it. I've had my time to sulk in my sadness, and now it's time for me to boss up, fix my credit. No, I'm just kidding. It's time for me to boss up and realize, like, Michaela, if you keep on falling for these tests, if you keep on not having your eyes open when these people, when these men, in my situation, when these guys come around, you're going to keep on having the same situations happen. And in the confrontation situation, if you keep on not learning how to stand up for yourself, or speak up, or, you know, realizing that life involves confrontation, you're going to be faced with the same situations over and over and over again. Okay? So now let me get to like with all that being said, I just really want people to know, like, it's okay if you fall off your path. It's okay if you fall off your horse. As long as you get back on, and don't let those feelings of sadness and despair and, like, you know, failure linger for too long, because they could take you places that will hurt your path. Like, you don't want to stay there. Everything's about the mindset. And I feel like a lot of people forget about that. Even I do, because sometimes my mind be, like I said, my mind be taking me places that I don't like to go, that nobody wants to go. But, like, you have to realize it's all about your mindset. When you fall for these tests and you fall for these temptations, it's up to you whether this is it for you or not. So now what I have learned to do to kind of get me through this, and like through these feelings that I get whenever I do make a mistake, or whenever I do kind of stray away from where I'm trying to go, which hopefully will start lessening, but I'm still young. Basically, what I've decided to do, I made a list of, like, what are some things that I can do to get myself back where I need to be, like, back in my path. And these are just things that I like to do, okay? I found out that I should look for, like, get back into my hobbies, because I have a lot of hobbies that I really like to do. I like to sing. I like to meditate. I love studying crystals. I love studying my birth chart. Like, those are things. Oh, I love poetry. We all know this. Those are things that I like to do that can fill that void of me just, like, dwelling on the fact that I done messed up. Like, I can focus on my passion. I can focus on this. Like, this is one of my passions. I want to help people. I want to tell people, like, this is what you need to do to, well, not what you need to do, because who am I to say that? But this is something that you can do. You know, you're not alone. This is, you know, that's one of my passions. So, first of all, one thing that you can do when you do fall off your path is to, you know, gear yourself back. Find a way to gear yourself back. In my situation, I have to reevaluate my values, reevaluate what I stand for when it comes to relationships, when it comes to what I actually want. And I have to learn that I need to continue to work on sticking to it. And so that I don't end up in a situation that, you know, can potentially hurt me. Okay? And with that being said, I hope that people could understand this, because I was kind of going everywhere, and I do that a lot, but that's my Mercury in the 12th house. But yeah, that's kind of all I had to say. Regardless, please don't ever think that you're a bad person just because you make a mistake, especially while you're on this journey. Okay? You're not a bad person. Okay, you're really not. Just because you make a mistake, it doesn't mean whatever you believe in, like God or whatever, doesn't love you. It doesn't mean that your ancestors are mad at you. No, they know that, like, you're just a spirit trying to learn. Like, that, they know this. And that's something that you have to remember too. We're here to learn. We're not here to be perfect. If we were here to be perfect, we wouldn't need to be here. Because that means we would have already known everything. That's why we come here. We come here to learn. We come here to grow, and we come here to progress in our journey. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. Bye. Damn.